Alright, hey everyone, it's me again, back with another sound design tutorial. This time I'm going to be talking about the sound from the drop of my newest song called Dinosaur. So I'll play it first in context, and then I'll talk about the sound I'm going to help you recreate specifically. So here it is in context.
Dinosaur.
Okay, so sound we're talking about is this guy. Okay. Which I have named Big Saw Guy. So this is sort of more complicated than some of the other tutorials I've done. There's 3 layers, Big Saw Guy 1, 2, and 3, and then a noise layer. So first I'll actually talk about the noise layer because it's easy. Noise layer sounds like this. And that's just there to sort of fill up space. It's really dead simple. It's the Serum noise generator, pink noise, level all the way up, and it's just got some reverb on it. It just sort of fills in the cracks in the drop, makes it sound more full. So nice little trick. So anyway, on to the main sound. Let me solo Big Saw Guy and turn off the reverb. Sounds like this. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice maybe is there's some pitch modulation on it, and that's common among all 3 of the layers. So it just sort of goes up and down and up and down and up and down. Right, but this is the first layer. Let me solo that, turn off the reverb again. It's here. So this is the bulk of the sound. This is a sound I sort of borrowed from dubstep. It's like a square wave with FM, which makes it sort of screechy, like robo kind of sound. So here's what it sounds like. Like I said, it's sort of the bulk of the sound. The center, the thing you'll like remember about it. So this is 2 octaves down, this is 2 octaves down, and then the FMer, the modulator, is 2 octaves up. So that's 4 octaves of difference between these guys. Let me turn off the effects here so you can hear it with just the oscillators. Sounds like this now. Kind of lame. Effects add a lot, and then without even the ultra saw. So this is sort of the center. So that sort of screechy sound comes from FMing a square with a really high up sign. Like I said, I just sort of did the FM to taste. The wavetable position is kind of looking like a square. If you move it over here, it looks like a sign. Right, so, okay, it sounds better again. And then if you play this guy, okay, it has a unison of 2. It's very wide. It's just sort of split on either ear, you can hear. And then FM'd a little bit, just because I like the way that sounded. Right. So you'll see here, I have an envelope on the pitch and it goes really quickly. So this is sort of the same concept as when you're synthesizing percussion. You want it to sort of the pitch to be high and snap down. It makes sort of a click. It makes it sort of punch through a little bit. Makes it snappy. So you put that on the pitch and it sort of snaps down to the correct pitch. So that's pretty cool. I do that on all the layers. And then I've got this envelope here on FM amount and the cutoff on the filter. What happens is if you watch, it goes up here and it comes down, so you can sort of see it falling down the cutoff as the note sustains and falling down the FM. It's just, I like the way that sounded, so I kept it. Just a matter of taste. So onto the effects, which adds a lot to this sound, like most of the things I've done in tutorials. So hyper is first. Sounds like this. I'll A-B while it's playing. So it adds a lot. It makes it kind of like blurrier and less mono sharp. It's like a little more stereo now, and you know, I don't know, it just sounds better to me. And then we've got this distortion, which is hard clip. I really like the hard clip distortion. It may not add that much to the sound, but I just kind of throw it on everything. Either that or like tube. So I'll A-B again. So sounds a little better, I think, but I don't know, I guess that's personal preference. So phaser, I sort of do this with every phaser, just turn the rate off and put the settings sort of here. I just like the way that sounds, turn the mix down a little bit. So the reason I do this is because this makes a static hole in the sound. Like, since the phaser's not moving, it's just kind of a hole in the sound. I'll A-B again. You might not be able to tell a huge difference here either. Right, so you'll see a much bigger difference with the same concept later on in the effects chain. I just sort of do this out of habit, actually. Chorus, delay up a little bit, depth up a little bit, everything else is where it starts. So this makes it a little bit wider. Okay. So, compressor, multiband, gain up. It just makes it a little bit louder. So again. So it makes it like more aggressive and adds some like high frequency presence. So this filter here is what I was talking about. We've got phaser 48 plus, which I think has like 4 holes in it, and it doesn't move unless you make it move by moving the cutoff, but I don't. So it just makes holes in the sound. I like it. I'll A/B. I just sort of like the way that sounds. I put it on a lot of stuff. And I go to the effects section here. This is just sort of compressed a lot and has a little bit of distortion and also saturation, which I guess is also distortion. And then this EQ kind of, I just took out some resonances. It's just sort of to ear. It doesn't add a whole lot. So this gets bussed here to dimension expander, which does add a whole lot. So I will play with and without. You can just sort of hear how it adds a bit of, you know, dimension to it. I put that on all of my sort of bassy sounds, and actually just kind of on everything. It sounds amazing, and it sums to mono really well, so great. And then this is just me messing around, making all 3 of the layers kind of fit together. Again, just sort of by ear. This EQ here, I automate on later to make mixing better, but yeah, it's not part of the character of this sound. And then finally here we've got this compressor, which is Maximus. It just sort of compresses the 3 layers together and then saturates. I'll get back to that later. So layer number 2 is Big Saw Guy number 2. It says like this. Yeah, let me turn off the reverb, hold on. Sounds pretty gross. That sound is pretty nasty by itself, but it's a nice support to the sort of centered sound from before. So this is also 2 octaves down, 2 octaves down. And you'll notice that this looks sort of the same, and it's because it is. I just cloned the patch and changed the 2 oscillators. This is now a saw wave, which has unison, and this is now native curse, which is like the greatest wavetable ever, and it's just sort of vowel-y goodness. Let me play this one first. Okay, so that's just sort of wide, sort of painfully crunchy, high frequency unison thing that's FM'd. I just sort of like that to give width to the sort of mono-ish first sound. Then we've got this thing, which is cool and adds this valley coolness to it. I like that. I use native curse in a lot of things. It just adds character to it that I like. These effects are exactly the same because I'm uncreative, and then this has nothing on it, same reason, and then this goes here, which I already talked about. So on to layer 3. Actually, let me play these 2 together so you can hear the difference now. Forgot the reverb again. Right. Little bit of a difference. So this guy here is Big Saw Guy number 3. Sounds like this. I gotta turn off the reverb. Okay. Pretty lame. So this is only 3 octaves apart from the modulator. It's sort of your more typical screechy sound. So I cloned Big Saw Guy number 2 and just went octave -1 instead of -2. Everything else again is identical. It just sounds sort of nice and supports the other two sounds. So, and then I just rolled off the low end and cut some here because it didn't sound too nice played at the other ones. So if I play them, these two, and then add this guy in, you'll see the difference. It's a pretty big difference. This guy actually adds a lot. So adding a little bit of more high frequency stuff really sort of fills out those bassy sort of sounds, which I really like. And then again, I didn't mention this before, but don't forget to roll off your lows so the sub can just not be interfered with. You know, it just makes things sound better. So all together with the noise, it sounds like this. Okay, I guess that's not the best example. The noise doesn't help a whole lot. So, one thing we forgot is the reverb, which you can hear still trailing off. So, reverb on this sounds like this, which is kind of ridiculous, right? Who would ever use something like that? I must be an idiot. Well, we've got this reverb sidechain trigger, which is just a sine wave generated by Serum, which plays the same notes as the big saw guy 1, 2, and 3. So what happens is sidechain to this reverb, so when these are playing, the reverb ducks out of the way, and then it comes back. So you'll see what I mean when I turn it on. So when it's playing, it ducks, otherwise the reverb shoots up and sort of fills in the space. I really like the way that sounds. It makes it just kind of cooler sounding. And actually that is pretty much it for this sound. I talked about this compressor before, so now I'll show you what it's doing when all three of them are playing. So it just does a little bit of compression and saturation to just kind of smush them together. That's pretty much it. I'll get on to other sounds eventually, but I'm sick right now, so if you like this sound, want to see more videos like this, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and so on, and I will see you next time.